Our first tipping point tonight is very simple. Why hasn't Obamacare been repealed yet? 8 years. 8 years. That's how long Republicans have had to craft an alternative to Obamacare. 8 years. Yet when it comes down to the wire, even though Republicans have a majority in the House, a majority in the Senate, and the presidency, yesterday the Senate caved and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell pulled his bill, claiming he doesn't have enough votes to pass it, saying he would bring to the floor instead another proposal that would delay the repeal of Obamacare for 2 years. My question, why should we continue to vote for Republicans if they campaign on Obamacare repeal and then cower at the moment of truth and leave Obamacare standing? Watch.
I regret that the effort to repeal and immediately replace the failures of Obamacare will not be successful. That doesn't mean we should give up. We will now try a different way to bring the American people relief from Obamacare. I think we owe them at least that much. In the coming days, the Senate will take up and vote on a repeal of Obamacare combined with a stable 2-year transition period as we work toward patient-centered health care. A majority of the Senate voted to pass the same repeal legislation back in 2015. President Obama vetoed it then. President Trump will sign it now.
Joining me now, Republican Congressman from Ohio's 6th District, Representative Bill Johnson. Congressman Johnson, thanks for being here, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me today.
Congressman, I got to tell you, I am frustrated. I think I share the frustration of much of the American people here as we watch Congress, perhaps a Congress that looks to us at least to be inept in pushing the agenda that President Trump campaigned on. And I have to ask you, sir, this debacle that's happened in Congress with not being able to repeal Obamacare, if we don't do it now, when will this happen?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. First of all, I'm very frustrated too. And I certainly believe that the people that I represent are also frustrated. Let's go back to one of the statements that you made, though, in setting up this segment. 8 years. Remember, throughout most of that 8-year period, we had Barack Obama in the White House. We sent him repeal legislation while he was president. He vetoed it and refused to sign it. So for most of the 8 years, we were not going to get support from the White House to get this done. Now, I am frustrated that the House has done its job, that we sent a bill to the Senate that would cut the Obamacare taxes, that would reduce the deficit, that would give the American people more choices to quality health care and protect those with pre-existing conditions. And I'm extremely disappointed that our Senate colleagues in the Republican Party in the Senate, some of them have chosen to sit this out. I hope that they change course and that they reconsider before it's too late. I'm glad that Leader McConnell said that they're going to continue to work on it. It's very important that we get this done because Obamacare is failing. And it continues to fail more every day.
Right, and that burden falls, of course, on the backs of us everyday Americans who are facing higher premiums and higher deductibles and less choice here. But you make a good point. I want to drill into that just a little bit. I mean, when you talk about the fact that Republicans in the House and Senate sent Obamacare repeal bills to the desk of President Obama, I mean, that was when there was a Democratic president. It was almost obvious that he would veto that. Now we have a Republican president who campaigned on repealing Obamacare, and it's mind-boggling to me in a sense that there can't be some sort of agreement to get such a bill onto President Trump's desk now. How come, sir?
Well, I can't speak for the Senate. I can only speak for what we've done in the House. And I share your frustration and obviously the frustration of millions of Americans who are asking the same question, what's wrong in the Senate? Why can't we get our Senate colleagues to come together and get this done? I don't think the party's over. I don't think the fight is over. And so I believe that you're going to see the Senate continue to work this because over the coming days, they're going to firsthand get the outrage of Republican voters and American voters who voted for President Trump largely because of the promises that he made, this being one of the biggest ones to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Right, and that's where it confuses me, because I feel like this isn't just a Republican versus Democrat proposition here. There are many, many American people who voted for Barack Obama in the past 2 elections who are now hurting under Obamacare. They voted for Trump this time because they want it repealed here. And I guess my question, and maybe you have the perfect perspective on this because you're in Congress but not in the Senate. Do your colleagues in the Senate, do they not have the stomach for this fight?
Well, again, I can't speak for individuals in the Senate. I know, for example, that Senator Rob Portman has been one of the ones at the table to try and come up with a solution that would work. And I'm sure that there are others as well. But at the end of the day, the American people are going to judge the Senate on whether they do or they don't get this done. And I'm hopeful that Leader McConnell is going to be able to rally the Senate to go back to the table, come back to the table, and let's roll up our sleeves and continue this work. I mean, he's already said that they're going to be in session the first 2 weeks of August in the recess period. They need to be able to get this done. So let's stay at it.
Right, and let me just rewind just a moment and ask, even from the House side here, both the House of Representatives and the Senate, why not just pass a flat repeal bill as simple as you possibly can? One sentence that says, as of right now, as of the signing of this bill, the Affordable Care Act is hereby repealed in its entirety. Why not go back to the beginning and do it that way?
Well, I think part of the problem is that there have been so many regulations and so many executive orders issued under Barack Obama that put Obamacare in place, that implemented the law. I think the real concern is that the unintended consequences of simply repealing, that's what some are saying, okay? But I think that is something that we have to consider moving forward, because the American people are demanding nothing less. They want better access to affordable, quality health care, and they want to make sure that people with pre-existing conditions are covered. That's what we promised. That's what we should deliver.
Well, let me ask you this, Congressman. Would you vote for a bill like that was just straight repeal with a replacement coming later on down the line?
I think at this point, we need to look at all options to get it done. Look at what happened in Ohio just a few weeks ago. Anthem has pulled out, leaving 18 counties without a single provider on the exchanges. And 6 of those counties are in my district. What are those people going to do? What are those people with pre-existing conditions in those counties going to do when they have no choice of a health care provider? So look, all options need to be on the table at this point, and we need to get this done. But the House has done its job. I urge the Senate to move so we can go to conference and come back together again with something that we can put on the president's desk that's going to give the American people what the president promised.
Right, and on that, sir, you and I are on the same page. We want Obamacare repealed, and we want it repealed now. Thank you so much, Congressman Johnson, for being on the show. I really appreciate it, sir.